So Cathie Woods or ARK Invest is predicting that Tesla stock could hit a whopping $5,800 per share pre-split by 2026. That's about $1,933 per share post-split, post 3-for-1 stock split. That's the bull case. The bear case, they're saying $2,900 per share pre-split, which post-split would be about $967 per share, and an expected value of $4,600 per share by 2026. About $1,533 per share post 3-for-1 stock split. Sheesh! And for someone who's going all in into Tesla stock, man, double sheesh. But in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and break down ARK's Tesla prediction to 2026 because the chart is a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit complicated to understand. Actually predicting for the stock and breaking it down was pretty difficult too. It wasn't as easy or straightforward as Gary Black's. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out that video, check it out. It's sheesh, it's good stuff. But hopefully in this video we get to shed a light on that and things will be a lot more clear. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. All I ask in return is a like and subscribe if you haven't already, man. Come on, let's go. By the way, guys, if you want to support this channel even more, now you can. You guys can now become a member of this channel where you guys will get cool emojis, you'll get your crown, man, your king, queen. Get your crown, man. And a members only community post, which I think is pretty cool. And you get all that for only less than $2 a month. So that's a sheesh. As well as this merch right now, like the go all in wall poster behind me, t-shirts, sweaters, mugs, cups, you name it, it's there. Link card in the corner or in the description. All right, now let's get into it. Alrighty, so quickly and briefly, let's go over the outputs for the bear and bull outcomes for ARK Invest or Cathie Wood. Let's first take a look at the bear case. The bear case, they're predicting they're gonna sell about 10 million vehicles at an average price of $38,000, which would give a total revenue for just vehicles alone of $372 billion. Now, obviously, 10 times 38,000 is not 372. It should be 380. So we know that this 10 million is just a round up number. So we know that right off the bat. But what's interesting is the rows next to it. Human driven ride hail revenue in the net billions of around $67 billion. And then robotaxi or autonomous ride hail, which is like robotaxi pretty much, of $51 billion. So that's insane. But what's even crazier is that electric vehicle gross margin is around 46%, which right now in the recent Q3 earnings, it was just about 28%. So sheesh, 46%, that's absolutely crazy. The total gross margin, however, is a whopping 50%, which is just absolutely insane. 50% gross margin by 2026. Wow, that's insane. That's actually pretty good. But what's even amazinger, I guess, is the total EBITDA margin, which is 37%. Jesus, 37%. That's efficiency, man. That's crazy. In the recent Q3, it was around just over 23%, but they're saying by 2026, 37%. That's very effective. That's absolutely insane. Enterprise value to EBITDA is about 14.5, which is pretty darn good. I mean, that's insane. But I am curious to know how they figured out the enterprise value all the way in 2026, because usually enterprise value is calculated in the present time. So for them to go all the way to 2026, they already have the figures for how much debt and cash they will. I don't have that data, nor do I have it in my predictions because I go based on sales and how much they're going to be making per vehicle and per FSD. That's it. I don't try to predict how much cash they'll have or how much debt they will have because that just gets too complicated. But hopefully one day ARK can release that so we can see what they're thinking by 2026, because finding enterprise value today is possible, but finding it in 2026 or finding it tomorrow is not really. So it's interesting that they put enterprise value by EBITDA. And with a 2,900 price target or a 967 after the 3-for-1 stock split is around $3.3 billion at a free cash flow yield of 4.8%, which is pretty darn good. Now let's go to the chart that I made here in the bear case for Cathie Woods and let's break it down. Right off the bat, as you guys can see in 2026, vehicle deliveries, it's not 10 million because if you multiply that by 38, we get 380 billion. So that doesn't make any sense. So the correct number is 9.79 million vehicles delivered. And with the 38,000, we get the 372 billion in revenue. But then on top of that, we have the ride hail revenue and the robotaxi revenue. Adding that to the total revenue as well, we get 490 billion total, like $500 billion in revenue by 2026. Now, do I agree with this? That by 2026, they're gonna do $500 billion? In my opinion, reaching 9.8 million vehicles delivered by 2026 is extremely stretched. In my prediction, in 2026, I have about over 7 million vehicles delivered. But she's saying close to 10 million. So let's see how things play out. That's just crazy. But going forward, she's saying a total gross margin of 50%. That would give us an income, not net income, but an income of almost a $250 billion, which is just absolutely insane. But the problem is that we can't guess what the stock price would be or justify the stock will be $967, which is the $2,900 pre-split, based on total gross profit, because obviously we need to remove the expenses, operating expenses, the debt, the interest, taxes, all that kind of stuff. And Cathie Woods and ARK, in their little chart, they didn't mention what the operating margin will be, how much the expenses will be. Instead, they did enterprise value by EBITDA. They went based on that. But again, enterprise value, we need to know the cash and debt, which we don't know by 2026. So we're gonna find this ourselves. We're gonna take educated guess to see how they're getting this number, the Tesla stock price and the market cap of $3.3 trillion by 2026. Sheesh. So it's safe to say that by 2026, if they're doing 50% gross margin, an operating margin of 30% seems to be fair. Comment down below if you guys agree, because I think 30% is fair. Why do I say it's fair? Because if we look at the recent Q3 earnings, we can see the operating margin is about 17.2%. Almost half, well, not almost half, it's a bit more than half of the total gross margin. So we're doing the same thing here to 2026. So that's how I got 30%, and that's why I think it's fair. But a 30% of operating margin out of the total revenue, which is $490 billion, we get a net income of $147 billion in net income, which is absolutely insane. This beats my own prediction for 2026, which is absolutely insane. Now, the shares outstanding here is pretty important because ARK is pretty much saying from 2023 all the way to 2026, they're going to dilute about 2.2%, which by 2026 will be over 3.4 billion in shares outstanding. That will give us an EPS of $43 per share by 2020. I mean, sheesh, $43, that's pretty insane. And now it's time for the PE. Now here's the crazy part about the PE. ARK Invest, or Cathie Woods, is saying a PE of 22.5 will give a Tesla stock price of $967 or a market cap of $3.3 trillion. So that's how she's getting the bear case. Do I think this is realistic? As much of a bull that I am in Tesla, I don't think we're gonna reach 10 million vehicles or even robotaxi or ride-hail revenue at these revenues by 2026. And I'm gonna show you guys why. I'm gonna go ahead and unhide the years of 2022 to 2025 and bam, as you guys can see. Right off the bat, if they gotta reach almost 10 million vehicles or 9.8 million vehicles delivered by 2026, they're gonna be growing at a whopping range of 54%. Sheesh! That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Now, I do believe in 2023, they can grow 60% or even 65%. 2024, 2025, 2026 requires them to bring out the new generation faster, meaning new plants needs to be made. The new vehicles have to be at least half the cost of Model 3 and Model Y, as they mentioned in the Q3 earnings report. And they're going to do it fast because if there's any hiccups, 9.8 million for ARK, I think it's a bit aggressive in my opinion. But if we don't hurry up in 2024 or 2025 to make the plants, to make the vehicles, then it's going to be hard to grow at a 64% year over year. Remember guys, Tesla's goal is to grow 50% year over year, not 64. But ARK is saying that they're going to do 64, which is, I don't know. Doesn't seem really realistic to me unless they make the new plants and bring out the new cars, and the cars are 20,000, 25,000 each and by end of in the next 2 years or so. So I don't think that's going to happen. Another reason why I don't think this is realistic is because, well, they're going to start mass producing robo-taxis by 2024. So for them to reach 51 billion by 2026, I'm a little bit skeptical here, but it's possible if they get everyone involved at the same time, which I think would be a little bit tricky. I think we gotta increase the insurance for that, but it's possible. However though, for the human-driven ride-haul revenue, they're saying 67 billion by 2026. Personally, I don't think the ride-haul revenue is gonna come into play. If robotaxi is gonna come and you don't need humans behind the wheel, why do you want to have a human-driven one? It just doesn't make any sense. So I put numbers here to try to, slowly increment to ARK's number to 67, but it's just hard to get that number. It just doesn't make sense to me. But nonetheless, guys, the average selling price, it comes down gradually to meet the 38,000 in 2026. total gross margin as well as the operating margin, the net incomes, shares outstandings, the EPSs, and the PEs. So we're saying that from 900 billion, 2025 will be 2.2 trillion. And then all of a sudden in 2026, if they, jump from 6 million vehicles to almost 10 million vehicles, and you got like robotaxi and human-driven ride haul going ballistic, we could get a $3.3 trillion valuation. That's absolutely insane. What's really surprising here is that ARK didn't put the Tesla insurance nor the energy, which, I think these guys would be more interesting and realistic too. Check out my 2030 stock price prediction, including everything right here. However though, guys, this is just the bear case, and that's absolutely flipping wild. Now we're gonna move on to the bull case, and if you guys are ready, man, smash that like button, man. Come on. All right, let's move on to the bull case. Now in the bull case, they said that 17 million vehicles delivered. I mean, that's insane. 17 million vehicles is what I'm predicting is going to happen by 2030. I'm saying that the 2030 goal of 20 million vehicles is going to be delayed for a couple or a few years. So to see that ARK or Cathie Woods is saying 17 million by 2026, sheesh, that's insane. Well, it's a bit less than 17 million at 16.9 million. But what's even more insane is the robotaxi revenue at almost $500 billion. I mean, bro, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. If they're going to mass produce at 2024, you're telling me it's only going to take 2 years for them to do $500 billion in just robotaxis? That's crazy. I got more thoughts on this, but we'll come back to it later. Let's keep going forward. She's saying here that the average selling price is going to be 30,000, which the total revenue would be close to 1 trillion. Insane. Total gross margin at 56%, which net income would be almost reaching $600 billion. So we're exceeding $500 billion in just income, not net income. Operating margin, I put 33%, and we get a net income of $300 and almost $30 billion. So almost a third of $1 trillion in net income. That's crazy. For the shares outstanding, I increased it 2.2%. We get over 3.4 billion in shares outstanding. And the EPS, oh man, 96. That's flipping crazy. And with that, with a P of 20.1, we get a stock price of 1933 and a market cap over or just $6.6 trillion. Sheesh, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. But again, guys, I don't think this bull case is gonna happen. Look, 17 million vehicles by 2026. I don't think that's gonna happen. Again, I'm a big bull of Tesla. I don't think this is gonna happen. What I think that won't happen even more is the $500 billion in robotaxi by 2026. I don't think that's going to happen. This is maybe a 2030, 2032 thing, but 2026, I don't know. That's being extra bullish. Now, let me go ahead and unhide 2022 to 2025 to see the bigger picture. So in 2022, we're probably going to end up the year around like 1.37, 1.36 million vehicles. But in order to reach the 17 million vehicles delivered by 2026, they gotta grow at a 88% year over year. 88%. Bruh, that's flippin' intense. And I personally don't think they're gonna be growing at an 88%. Again, 2023, I think they may be growing 60 to 65% because, again, in 2022, in Q2 of 2022, we lost about 100,000 vehicles because of a shutdown. Not to say that we're not gonna have any more shutdowns. We're definitely gonna have more shutdowns in China because of the zero COVID policy, which is really stupid. But if things go smoothly, they can do 60 to 65% in 2023, and that's the max, I think. But 88% from now till 2026, year over year for vehicle growth, vehicle deliveries, I just don't see that happening. What I also don't see happening very soon is the robotaxi. Again, at a bull case, I put here 50 billion. And the reason why I started with 50 billion is because I looked at Uber, and Uber is doing about what, like 17 billion every single year, and they have about 3.5 million vehicles on the road. So by 2024, we can expect Tesla to have double the amount of cars on the road and a cheaper service. Most likely, if Uber doesn't fall in line with Tesla and decides to be a competitor to Tesla in terms of robotaxi and ride hauling, they're probably most likely going to go out of business. And for everyone who owns a Tesla, and if robotaxi is a thing, and if Tesla allows everyone to use robotaxi to make passive income, every single, and I'm not being exaggerated here, every single Tesla owner would want to do robotaxi, because if you're at home and the car's not doing anything and no one's using the car, man, go out and make me some money, man. So that's why I came up with an ambitious number of $50 billion by 2024, and that's the max. 2025, more than doubling that, and then again, 2026 is just quadrupling that, which is insane. Personally, guys, I don't know how robotaxi is gonna be. I need to see some numbers. I need to see how things are gonna come, and we're gonna see how that's gonna work in 2024 or mid 2024 when they start mass producing robotaxis, which most likely will not be in the hands of consumers. It'll be more likely in the hands of Tesla itself doing the service. Sorry, Uber and Lyft. It was nice knowing you guys. But moving on, as you guys can see in the average selling price for each vehicle, it comes down a lot more sharper than in the bear case because, again, Cathie is saying $30,000 per vehicle by 2026. And the total revenue, as you guys can see here, the total gross margin, the income, the operating margin, the net incomes, the shares outstandings, EPSs, and the PEs. And as you guys can see, by 2025, we exceed $3.3 trillion in value. And that's the bull case. But what's even more crazy is that from 2025 to 2026, it jumps literally like it doubles almost, which is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't think this will happen in my opinion. I don't think Cathie Woods' bull case is going to happen. I really don't think. Bear case, maybe. 967 by 2026 makes sense. My own prediction to 2026 at a 40 PE is around $1,000, $1,000 to $1,100 per share. That's my guess. But she's saying 967 with a 22.5 PE if they do 10 million vehicles. Again, I'm not saying 10 million, I'm saying 7 million, but we'll see how things go. Here are the charts side by side, how it looks like. It's a colossal difference. It's a massive, massive difference. However, though, she's saying the expected price is $4,600 or $1,500 per share by 2026. So we'll see what happens in 2026. So overall, in my opinion, Cathie Woods, I mean, the bull case is absolutely crazy. It's insane. And I don't think the bull case will happen. The bear case, however, is a bit more realistic in terms of stock price. In terms of revenue and profits, I think that's a bit too soon. Again, unless robotaxi comes into play a lot sooner, FSD gets solved a lot sooner and faster, and if you add the other stuff like the energy and the insurance and many other things that Tesla's gonna bring into play, not power. Bruh. But overall, the bear case seems to be realistic in my opinion in terms of stock price only. The numbers, we gotta wait and see. But what is more realistic is Gary Black, Tesla's 2030 stock price prediction. In this video, I break it down in a full explanation on how he does it. Check it out, you won't be disappointed. Check out some merch, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.